I'm practicing a love affair with life this year, loving myself, my people, and just life more. It was 2021 in September. Dan and I are sitting in this very room in front of my computer. The webcam is on. The meeting is in progress, and I am sobbing uncontrollably. I'm trying to ground. I've put my feet on the floor. I'm taking deep breaths through my nose. 1, 2, 3. And I can't even get through the 4 because I start to sob again. I can't even count. I'm not able to self-regulate. I can't ground. So the tears and the sobs just keep coming. I have a box of tissues. On the other side of the Zoom meeting is our counselor. I'm mortified. I'm broken, and I'm not sure I'm going to survive. Dan and I have been married for 24 years. The only big fight we had was before we even got married. I've done a ton of personal work, internal hard work to grow as a person. Dan is a solid, hardworking, and steady person, and sometimes has problems talking about his feelings. We end our session, Dan leaves, and I start to paint. We repeat this routine for 6 months. I started to read books about healthy separation. We share a son, and someday he's going to get married. And I want to be able to sit in the same room with Dan without having a ton of hard feelings. It's really hard. It's really hard for Dan to talk about his feelings. It's really hard for me to listen to his feelings. I'm pretty straightforward. So I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. You don't have to ask. Dan, I have to ask. I move out. Not so that we could start seeing each other, but I was so full of hurt and it was really hard to be in the same house. So we started having date nights again. We kept talking to our counselor. Some of the sessions were pretty brutal, full of truths that we both needed to hear. I stopped sobbing uncontrollably. I'm doing coaching and counseling twice a week, one with Dan and our counselor, and the other with my friend and fellow coach, Rose. It's Friday, and I'm sitting in my office in front of the same Zoom camera that I always sit in front of, and I'm talking to Rose. I share what I'm going through, and she's listening. She really asks great questions, and she's holding space for what I'm going through. Rose, I'm not willing to change. I love who I am. I love who I've become, and I'm not willing to give that up. It's taken me a really long time to get here. And every time that Rose and I talked, I would say the same thing. A year from now, I'm going to be happily married or happily divorced. But one way or the other, it's going to be happily something. It's now 2024. I love the woman I am. I'm excited to see who she's going to be a year from now. Dan and I are happily married. This year, I decided to 10x the love I have for life and have a love affair with life. To me, that means loving all parts and people in my life more, with more intention, more passion, more openness, and more purpose.